Spider-Man is one of the most popular superheroes in the world. He's not an alien, billionaire, or god. He's a teenager bitten by a radioactive spider, giving him superpowers that defy logic. Today we are having fun with physics and exploring what it would take for Spider-Man to do the things that make him the superhero that he is. Spider-Man's most iconic power, and the one he is best known for, is his web swinging. In the comics and films, he swings effortlessly between skyscrapers using thin strands of webbing shot from his wrists. From a physics perspective, the act of swinging simply converts falling into a horizontal motion. At top speeds, it's suggested that Spider-Man can swing in excess of 100 miles per hour, pulling off maneuvers that involve massive G-forces that no human could even come close to surviving. When he swings from one building to the next, he's essentially acting as a human pendulum. The faster he moves, the tighter the arc, the more G-forces exerted on his body, especially during sudden direction changes. Some estimates suggest that mid-swing, he could experience forces of 10 Gs or more, depending on the arc, speed, and deceleration of the swing. Fighter pilots black out at around 9 Gs in specially designed G-suits. Spider-Man didn't get his powers from magic or an unknown alien power source. He's the product of a radioactive spider bite, so one would have to assume that his muscles and bones have been supernaturally reinforced by the radioactivity. His skeletal structure would need to be multiple times stronger, denser, and at the same time, lighter than a human's to withstand the massive G-forces to prevent his bones from snapping like twigs. His muscles and tendons would also need to have massive tensile strength, far exceeding anything seen in nature, allowing him to absorb and control the stress of rapid directional swings. Regular human ligaments and bones would tear and break apart at the first high G maneuver, which is what makes the act of swinging through New York an amazing superpower. The force needed to support his weight and redirect his momentum from falling into a horizontal motion would be staggering. At average web-swinging speeds, let's say 60 miles per hour, Spider-Man would need to manage forces several times his body weight every time he hooks a line. The anchor point would experience even more stress, telling us that the webbing itself would have to be insanely strong. In the comics, Peter invents the synthetic web, and in the films, it's also shown to be an organic fluid that is a mutation of his physical body from the spider bite. Regardless of the source, it would need to have a tensile strength far beyond anything known to humanity to hold his weight at those speeds and survive the massive forces exerted on the web and anchor point. A typical web line would have to support over a ton of force without snapping or detaching. Spider-Man's ability to crawl up walls and effortlessly cling to the sides of skyscrapers without much effort defies natural laws and seems more magical. But there are species in nature that can do it. Geckos and insects stick to surfaces using tiny hair-like structures on their feet called setae, creating van der Waals forces at the molecular level. A similar concept that Sam Raimi used to explain this power to audiences in Spider-Man 2002. But given that Spider-Man appears completely unaffected by gravity when scaling walls, his body would have to distribute his weight in a way that would allow this superpower to function. Perhaps it is some kind of quantum mechanics rearrangement of weight distribution, rather than a true physical explanation. Or perhaps his weight is transferred through to the wall in some kind of alternate law of physics. Wall crawling is a feat that requires a combination of super strength coupled with a physical body that is much lighter and more durable than that of a human. The larger and heavier an organism is, the more difficult it becomes to stick to vertical surfaces. Tiny insects and small lizards don't have much trouble because their surface area to mass ratio is favorable. But for a full-grown adult male to cling to glass with only a few limbs contacting the surface, you'd need incredible adhesive force. Spider-Man's mutation would need amplified sticking power for each foot and hand, coupled with some form of conscious control so he can let go at will. Spider-Man also has the ability to fall from extreme heights and survive. He often leaps from buildings or is punched or thrown through the air by enemies. He routinely falls from incredible heights and either lands on his feet or even just walks away if he lands violently. A human body hitting the ground at terminal velocity, which is about 120 miles per hour, would turn into jelly. It reinforces the idea that his body may be lighter, allowing for a favorable strength-to-weight ratio. His body also has incredibly enhanced durability and seems to have some sort of internal dampening system. Perhaps his musculature acts like a built-in shock absorber, redistributing kinetic energy across his frame and releasing it into the air surrounding him, instead of having it concentrated in his joints and spine. His superpowers also include godlike reflexes, allowing him to adjust his landing posture mid-fall, reducing impact where possible and maximizing his body's ability to survive. Spider-Man's ability to absorb massive punishment is matched by very few superheroes. He routinely gets hit by cars, violently punched through walls and slammed into concrete, things that would kill any human instantly. This again suggests his bones are egregiously strong, acting like a reinforced biological composite. Add ultra-dense muscle tissue and enhanced regenerative properties, and you begin to build a plausible biological system that can take a beating and keep going. There are very few superheroes who are as resilient as Spider-Man. It may even make sense to link his powers and abilities to some kind of alternate quantum mechanics state that allows his body to exist in a kind of alternate universe, allowing him to function under different physical laws. His resilience to damage could also be explained by a kind of super-enhanced healing factor that kicks in when his body detects any deviation from his DNA blueprint that is contained in every cell. He doesn't have Wolverine's healing factor, but he's much more resistant to physical damage and can recover quickly. It also suggests a heightened metabolic and immune system capable of repairing damage at an accelerated rate. Spider-Man is incredibly difficult to defeat through sheer physical damage, and he also possesses unmatched reflexes that allows him to avoid even more damage, making him nearly impossible to kill. No analysis of Spider-Man can be complete without addressing his super strength. Over the decades, his strength has increased from being able to lift 10 tons to what is now 50 tons in today's comics and films. Spider-Man's muscles would need to be almost indestructible to generate that kind of power and lift that kind of weight without tearing. His tendons and ligaments would need to be equally strong, with a skeletal structure that could withstand the stress of exerting that kind of strength without breaking apart under the massive stress. If he does have some kind of built-in accelerated healing power, his body may be repairing damaged muscle, tendons, and bone the instant they deviate from his internal DNA blueprint. Or maybe again, it's a kind of quantum mechanics anomaly, allowing him to lift and move objects as though they were a fraction of their weight. Another thing to consider is his agility. Spider-Man flips, spins, dodges bullets, and lands precise hits on his foes in mid-air. His brain would have to process visual and spatial information almost instantly, compared to a normal human. This also aligns with his spider sense superpower, a kind of extrasensory perception that warns him of danger before it happens. While not grounded in physics, it could be imagined as a hyper-evolved form of proprioception or predictive neural processing, allowing him to anticipate threats milliseconds in advance. Perhaps every power he uses would come with 1,000 hidden variables in physics and biology, many of which are elegantly glossed over in fiction. But it could be that it's the mystery of how superpowers may work that makes watching the world of superheroes so entertaining. I'd like to thank you for joining us as we explore the physics of Spider-Man, and I invite you back for our next episode,